They told us Jeffrey Epstein was the end of the story. The monster. The anomaly. A man so twisted and rich, he created his own island empire, fueled by power, money, and abuse. But what if he wasn't the architect? What if he was just another operator? What if this system, the one that used sex as leverage and islands as cover, wasn't built by Epstein at all? What if it was much older and much deeper? Because the longer we stare into the wreckage he left behind, the clearer it becomes. This wasn't just about one man. This was about a network of blackmail, of intelligence, of ritual, of secrecy. And the real question isn't who was on Epstein's list. The real question is, how many other islands are out there? He had cameras, he had girls, he had friends in high places, but more importantly, he had leverage. Survivors say everything was recorded, every room wired, every encounter, a transaction. What seemed like just another elite playground may have been a trap, not just for pleasure, but for power. But that tactic, luring powerful men into compromising situations and recording it, didn't start with Epstein. It started decades ago. Operation Midnight Climax, a real declassified CIA program. In the 1950s and 60s, US intelligence rented out apartments in San Francisco and New York. They sent in sex workers to seduce targets. They secretly drugged them with LSD, and they filmed everything behind two-way mirrors. Why? To see if they could control people, to test truth serums. But, you know, some say it had a second purpose: to collect blackmail, insurance, leverage. Years later, another name surfaces: Roy Cohn, mentor to Donald Trump, advisor to Reagan, lawyer for the mob. He wasn't just a political pit bull, he was a gatekeeper. Rumors have long swirled that Cohn ran his own blackmail operations, involving underage boys, secret tapes, and political figures who could be compromised and controlled. No convictions, no exposure, just whispers. And then, decades later, Jeffrey Epstein enters the stage. The math teacher with no degree. The Wall Street outsider who somehow managed billions. The man who convinced Victoria's secret mogul Les Wexner to hand over power of attorney. Mansions, jets, offshore accounts. And then there's the mega group, a cabal of ultra-wealthy Zionist donors, allegedly linked to both Wexner and intelligence figures. Some believe Epstein wasn't freelancing at all, that he was plugged in, serving something bigger. And the trail doesn't end with him. Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine's father, media tycoon, Mossad asset. He died mysteriously at sea. Ghislaine, born into espionage, became Epstein's partner and possibly his handler. Together, they built a pipeline of girls, of models, of secrets. And at the center of it all, Little St. James, the island, the temple, the mystery. What was that blue and white structure? Why did it have no doors? Why were drones banned? Some believe it was symbolic. Others say it led underground. But Epstein's island wasn't the only one. There was Nick's IVM, a cult of branding, mind control, and sexual hierarchy, backed by billionaires. Its leader, Keith Raniere, held women as property. He was protected for years, until it all unraveled. There was Peter Nygard, the Canadian Epstein, with a compound in the Bahamas, accused of forced abortions, genetic experimentation, and human trafficking. Another fashion mogul, another pipeline, another fortress. And there are rumors of more: private islands, private flights, private pain. All Hin Suai, hidden behind NDAs and offshore companies. So why do these stories keep surfacing, only to disappear? Why do client lists vanish? Why do court documents stay sealed? Some say the list is just too explosive, too connected, that releasing the names could, collapse empires. Others say the list was never real at all, just a breadcrumb meant to distract. But what if it's both? What if there's no list? Because there are actually many, each tied to a different ring, a different country, a different name, but the method, the blackmail, stays the same. This isn't just about Epstein, it's about a machine. One built to compromise, to control, to silence. Because in this world, the dirt is the currency, the cameras are the weapons, and the island is just the beginning. So ask yourself, how many temples have no doors? How many names are locked in sealed files? And how long will the truth stay buried beneath the waves? The island may be quiet now, but the system is still alive.